I gotta get to the top of the tower and free Beta.
Aloy, time I see filth. Apologies for that. We're okay. As long as Alva hurries.
I'm almost into the network! Just do the best you can. Okay, an elevator. Promising.
Oh, come on. Oh, look who's here.
We got some unfinished business, little girl. I don't need a shield to take you out.
Trust me, you're gonna wish you had one.
You put a helmet on? Come on, dude. Kill Eric gladly.
Whoa! I can't let him catch me.
You don't know what
Hey, what are you doing? Okay. The heck?
Oh, yeah.
What are you weak against?
I'm
Fire?
taking you down.
Unfortunately, I don't have any fire arrows, but I can equip it. Where's that thing? Here we go. Put that over here. What is that? Like a triple destructo disc?
Felt that, didn't ya?
Can I trigger this? I don't know.
You afraid yet?
Oh, what the hell?
Gotcha.
Not much without your shield, are ya? Oh.
Dude, Okay. I did extra damage when I shot his manhood. Okay, can we not?
Take that!
Oh, of course.
This is the end for you!
Okay. Oh, getting too close.
You give me all those feelings, little girl.
Time to shut you up!
Aloy, are you there? I'm on my way to help. Just need to find my way in there.
I'll break you, girl. This is what I've been training for.
Ah, don't like that, do ya?
Oh, the little mousy friends. Exciting as I.
Oh, of course.
wanted a real fight. Didn't you?
Can you stop floating? That's not what I wanted. What the heck? I did not even move my stick in that direction.
You're outclassed. Come and fight.
Dude.
Come on.
Oh, he's almost dead. Oh. Okay, he burned. I wanted to go up and smack him in the
I
face.
almost forgot what it was like to hurt.
Oh. There you go.
Now we're having fun, right?
That wasn't blood. It didn't look like blood. Can I stick my spear in his face?
Okay, I will be. In time. Go. Rescue your sister. I'll regroup with the others and make sure they're all right.
Okay. I can't. Alright.
Go on. Don't worry about me.
Well, I'm glad Eric's dead.
Looks like the machines
That's
and specters have almost wiped each other out.
that's good.
What was that?
Aloy, Gerard just activated the self-destruct failsafe on the printing matrix. He's taking control of a number of systems.
Including the lift?
I'm afraid so. He's restricted its access to the top. You'll have to climb from there.
Oh, of
I have
course.
to go. I almost have him.
Yeah, so we got one asshole taken down. I would have liked to have killed him myself, but you know what? I'm glad Zoe got her vengeance.
Errand? Is everyone all right down there?
Aloy!
Mostly. We're cleaning up the last few specters.
What about the Zeniths?
Dead, I think. Zoe told me you got Eric. Good work.
Yeah. Thanks. I guess only Tilda and Gerard are left then.
Aloy, you there? Listen, I got into the network, but only for a minute before I was shut out. I found a bunch of flight plans and trajectories, as if the Zeniths were planning to leave Earth.
Doesn't make any sense.
I know, but there's more. The files I found have a lot of references to something called Nemesis. Whatever it is, the Zeniths are afraid of it.
Alva? Alva! What's going on here? Maybe Beta can help me figure it out. If she's okay.
Where am I going? Oh, jeez. Oh, there we go. Can I climb up? There we go.
I'm almost there.
That to be safe, and then hopefully grab that.
is it. End of the line.
I hope.
Are you okay? Look, I know you've been through a lot, but you have to help me access the Zenith network. I need to see their files, anything referring to the word Nemesis. Okay. Over there. Systems are down all over the base. I should be able to take advantage of... Yes, Nemesis. Here. There's something in deep space. It's following the Zeniths to Earth. Look. Escape vectors. Alva tried to warn me about this. The Zeniths aren't planning to stay here. It's a machine of some kind. Or a swarm of them. The energy readings are astronomical. Aloy, I don't think a natural disaster destroyed the Zenith colony on Sirius. This thing did. Earth isn't a new home for them. It's a way station. They're on the run.
I see you've been busy.
And you've been lying. Nemesis, what is it?
It is us. The minds of Far Zenith. Or failed copies of them, anyway. Back on Sirius, some of my peers weren't satisfied with physical immortality. They wanted digital transcendence. A way to upload their minds into any form, organic or mechanical. Nemesis was a failed experiment to that effect. Abandoned, but never erased. An immense database of our memories, emotions, and prejudices left to fester.
And it destroyed your colony?
We didn't realize it had gained sentience until it broke containment. It had everything it needed from our memories. Security protocols, system specs, override codes. It hacked everything before we knew what hit us. Then it took over our printing facilities, allowing it to gain any machine form it needed to wipe us out.
But why?
Imagine being trapped alone for decades with only the twisted echoes of megalomaniacs for company. It hates us for abandoning it to that prison. And now that it's free, it will do anything to destroy us, including denying us a safe harbor on Earth.
The extinction signal that woke Hades. You didn't send it. Nemesis did.
Finally, you understand. And when that failed, it launched from Sirius to finish the job itself. Which is why we must flee to a random planet circling a random star somewhere it can never find us.
With Gaia, so you can build yourself a new world.
That's the plan. Even now. Earth is finished, Aloy. Nemesis will scour it of life to deny its creators a viable home. But Elizabeth's dream won't die. You'll come with me to the stars. And with Gaia, we'll create a new world. Together. Where that monstrosity could never find us.
What? No.
I loved Elizabeth. more than you could ever know. And I let her stay behind to die with the rest of humanity. A mistake I have regretted for 1,000 years. Now she stands before me again. Not some inferior copy, but her best possible self. So I'm not asking. You're coming with me. It may seem harsh now, but you'll forgive me in a few centuries.
You can't force me, Tilda. Your shield is gone.
I have something better. Spectre Prime, to me.
Take cover! Get to the door!
Submit, Aloy. You can't win.
What the heck?
I've heard that before.
I think it's like a giant mecha suit or
Before I can do
something.
some damage.
Unbelievable. Is it in my notebook? Yep. Any weaknesses? Well, it's weak versus acid and plasma damage. Okay.
Sticks and stones against the lightning.
No, why would
I can endure.
stupid
You
controller.
cannot.
Apparently they gave me melee damage, and this one will give me what? Concentration plus. Did I just cancel out the thing?
Those gold
Probably.
plates are vulnerable. You're not taking me, Tilda!
I knew you didn't truly want to hurt me.
I wonder.
Hit!
How long can you keep this up?
Destroyed something.
This Spectre was
Damn it.
designed to survive against more than that.
Could you stop jumping around like that? Oh my gosh. Okay.
Ask yourself why you're holding back.
I'll shut you down.
I can endure. You cannot.
Well, that did something.
Sticks and stones against the lightning.
God.
It's powering up.
This Spectre was designed to survive against more than that.
Stand in the back first. Oh, that thing's fast. This won't work, Tilda.
The heck?
I knew you didn't truly want to hurt me.
I don't have stamina for that. Jeez. Holy crap, what the hell was that? A spirit bomb? This is getting too anime for me. I don't know.
This Spectre was designed to survive against more than that.
It's like she brought out a Megazord using spirit bombs. I mean, I don't think Power Rangers is considered anime, but you know. I need to refill my medicine. Oh gosh.
And stones against the lightning.
You're not gonna beat me!
Damn it.
Execute attack pattern Delta.
Acid's eating at its armor.
Can I use one of these?
Armor's up! It's using those gold plates to power its attacks.
Can't really tell which things are gold.
Ask yourself why you're holding back.
I clipped that thing's armor.
There we go. Ugh.
I'm not going with you. Ugh, it's quick.
Can you stop like doing all this spinning shit? God.
Blast off!
Damn. Need
Oh.
I knew you didn't truly want to hurt me.
Did not think I was that close.
I better hit it before the plasma flows.
I am the only way you get to live, Aloy.
How about we use this? I'm assuming this is the final fight, so so why not? Choking.
I have you.
Oh. Oh, it's dead. I wasn't sure if that last hit actually hit.
It's over. Lord, couldn't you just let me choose?
Is something else gonna happen here? I don't know. I was expecting a... Oh, there's a cutscene. Wait, that's it? She's dead? Uh-oh, what's Silence gonna do?
She tried to take you. And she told you about Nemesis.
So you've known all along.
From Hades, yes. Along with data on how to circumvent the Zenith shields. Everything I did to create the rebel army was based on that knowledge. To reach this place, this moment.
And And you couldn't just tell me?
Come now, Aloy. You're the last person to act sensibly in the face of impossible odds. When I learned of Nemesis from Hades, I saw the pieces on the board and how to play them. And in that same moment, I knew it was a game you would never play. That you would interfere and attempt to save the Tenakth. I was correct, to a point. You ruined my plans, but brought your own to fruition. The end result is the same. We're here. And now it's time for me to leave this doomed planet behind. To seize the Odyssey and the Apollo database and begin a new chapter in my pursuit of knowledge, one with infinite possibilities. You can join me if you so desire. You've more than earned your place. Unlike Tilda, I'm extending a polite invitation.
You're going to just take off? And abandon everything? Stay. Help me fight that thing.
Perhaps Tilda didn't adequately define the threat. Nemesis can't be stopped. It destroyed a highly advanced Zenith colony in a matter of hours. What hope does this primitive tribal Earth have? If you brought Gaia, you wouldn't be abandoning life, you'd be saving a seed for a new world. Just as Elizabeth did. It's the choice she made. The sacrifice of all that is for the hope of what might be. If she were here in your place, she would board that shuttle, Aloy.
Found her.
Is she hurt?
Still on her feet.
Thank the 10.
Goodbye, Silence.
She looks okay.
She looks victorious.
As always.
Aloy. You did it.
Hey, where's he going?
As far away as anyone can go.
Oh. Are you sure?
You're staying.
For a time. You people are going to need all of the help you can get.
Maybe he does have a soul.
Does anyone else need a drink?
Not if it's that ale of yours.
I'd be fine with a nap.
Excellent idea.
I hope it's really over this time.
There's another battle ahead, Elizabeth. Very different than the one you fought. It's not about the distant hope of creating a new world. It's about preserving the one we have. My friends have a new mission. To spread the word and ask for help. They've taken it in stride. I think it's because they've always known what I've only just started to understand. That the people of this world have the strength to fight any battle. the ingenuity to solve any problem. The courage to overcome any obstacle. And the resilience to rise after any setback. As for me, I can't say I'm not afraid. What lies ahead will be harder than anything we've faced before. But I know I can put the fear aside. Because for the first time in my life, I feel like I'm not alone.
And that is the end of Horizon Forbidden West. So, before we start, I am recording this part of the commentary a couple days after I finished the game, just so I could collect my thoughts. And the first thing I want to talk about is the end of the game. The best way I can describe it is, it was unsatisfying. For most of the game, our main goal was to get Gaia back online and heal the Earth. And while we kinda did that, it's overshadowed by the fact that there is now this really big threat from outer space that could potentially destroy the Earth. So Earth is still in danger, and we can't really celebrate what we've accomplished. I mean, in those final cutscenes we saw Aloy expressing those emotions a little bit. I mean, her friends came over and it's like, hey, we did it, and they want to celebrate, and then Aloy's kind of like giving that fake smile like, yeah, we kind of did, but it's not over yet. So it doesn't feel like we really accomplished anything. And that seems to be happening a lot nowadays in video games, movies, TV shows, whatever. You invest all this time into getting immersed in a story, and it's interesting for the most part, and then by the end it's like, you never get that closure because they leave it open-ended so that they can make a sequel later on. And I just don't like that. I mean, that's exactly what this game is doing. There will most likely be a sequel, but in order to do that, we can never get closure for this game. But this game is a sequel to Zero Dawn, so why didn't Zero Dawn have an unsatisfying ending if they were setting up the sequel for this? Now, I watched a couple reviews on this game because I wanted to see what other people thought, and one of the reviews I watched was by XPlay, which was a show that was around 10 years ago on G4, and it's actually come back, and they talked about the ending for this game. So when I was watching that, it's like, yes, this is exactly what I'm thinking. So I'm going to link that video in the description because they're just so much better at explaining things than I am. But anyway, basically what they said was Horizon Zero Dawn had an actual conclusion, an actual ending to the game. You know, you defeat Hades, everyone celebrates, you actually feel like you accomplished something, and then you get a little clip at the end where Hades goes back to Silence, and, you know, Silence captures Hades, and that sets up this game. And it kind of leaves it open-ended enough so that you can create a sequel, but it's not necessarily like the Earth is in immediate danger, because you never know what Silent's going to do with Hades. Is he going to keep him captured, or is he going to release Hades again? We don't know. But that is the main difference between that ending and this ending. There was closure with the main story, but then it was opened up just a little bit so that you could have a sequel. This game, there's just no closure. Even though you get Gaia back and you start healing the Earth, you know for sure that the Earth is still in danger because of Nemesis, which came out of nowhere. And that leads me into the next problem of like having too many villains being introduced throughout this game. Like when we first started, it seemed like Silence was going to be the main antagonist because, you know, he had captured Hades at the end of the first game, and he just wanted to keep Hades alive so that he could interrogate him and all that stuff. And then we had Regala show up at the embassy, and then we learned that Silence was behind that, so it's like, okay, Silence is still the main antagonist. But then we get introduced to the Zenith, and they're these aliens from outer space who are super powerful, more powerful than Silence and Regala, and pretty much anybody on Earth. And then it's like, oh crap, we have to figure out how we're going to save Earth while also dealing with the Zenith, while also dealing with Silence and Regala. And then by the end of the game, you know, most of that stuff gets resolved a little bit, and then we defeat the Zenith, and it's like, oh wait, there's an even more powerful being from space that's coming to Earth to destroy us. And it kind of reminds me of Dragon Ball Z a little bit. In that series, they constantly introduce new villains that are way more powerful than the previous ones. So the series starts out with the Saiyans coming to Earth, you know, Raditz, and then Vegeta and Nappa, and then you move on to the Namek Saga, and you have the Ginyu Force and Frieza, who are way more powerful than the Saiyans. And then you have the androids and Cell, who are way more powerful than Frieza, who is supposed to be the most powerful being in the universe, but now he's not. And then after the androids and Cell are defeated, there's an even more powerful being, Majin Buu. But anyway, they constantly introduced new villains who are way more powerful than the previous one, and that's kind of what this game did. You know, Regala's Rebels having the ability to override machines just like Aloy, and then the Zenith, and now we have Nemesis. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was kind of how they dealt with the Zenith. I mean, they introduced them, and they seemed invincible because of their shields. And they can also fly, and they're really strong, they have powerful weapons. So they seemed very terrifying. And they were kind of like this threat in the background for the entire game. But we didn't really see them that much. We saw them like a couple times throughout the game. Same thing with Regala and the Rebels. Especially Regala. Like, we only saw her like 2 or 3 times throughout the entire game before we actually had the boss fight against her. And same thing with the Zenith. We saw them in a couple cutscenes. We fought against Eric at the beginning, and then again at the end, and that was pretty much it. I guess defeating Eric at the end was a little bit of closure, because we had fought him at the beginning of the game and lost, but then at the end of the game we do defeat him. Zoe is the one that kills him, and she avenges Varl. She gets her revenge, so that was nice to see. For the other Zenith, we don't really get much out of it. I mean, I thought we were gonna fight the bald Jeff Bezos looking dude, because from what we saw, it looked like he was the leader, the one calling the shots. So I thought he was going to be like the final boss, but then what happens? He gets killed by Tilda in a cutscene, and most of that happens like off screen. Like, he comes crashing through the door at the end and then dies. It was a little underwhelming. And then we were supposed to have like a big battle against the other Zenith that were there, and you know, after their shields went down, it's like, ooh, we might actually get to fight them. But then what happens? They get killed in a cutscene by machines. And it's like, oh, okay. No epic final battle or anything. I guess we get some sort of like epic final battle against Tilda at the end when she brings out her mech suit or whatever, and I don't know, that just seemed really weird to me, like completely out of nowhere. So anyway, the way the Zenith were defeated was not the most satisfying. I mean, the only one that was somewhat satisfying was defeating Eric, because the only other one we defeated was Tilda, but we didn't even know if we wanted to defeat her until the very end of the game. And then the rest of the Zenith just died in cutscenes. So overall, the ending of the game was unsatisfying, maybe disappointing. It just feels like we didn't get closure or like we accomplished anything, because even though we have Gaia back online, now we have to worry about Nemesis, and we're gonna have to wait until the next game for that. So another thing that was kind of weird about the story was it seemed like there was a sense of urgency. You know, we're racing against the Zenith to try to get Gaia back online. We're trying to get all her subordinate functions before the Zenith can, so that we can save the Earth. so it feels like we have to rush. But then, if you pay attention to how the main missions are laid out, a lot of them are laid out over large areas so that you're encouraged to explore. So if you're encouraged to explore, that means you're not supposed to be rushing through the main story. And so that seemed kind of weird to me because, you know, they want you to explore the world, explore the game, but then they also make it feel like you need to get Gaia back online fast or else the Zenith are. It just seems weird that they would design the game this way, but, you know, it's not that big of a deal, so it doesn't really matter. There were a lot of side quests in this game, and I liked them a lot. I mean, the stories and the characters were really interesting, and it was nice that the stories would actually have closure at the end. I think I enjoyed doing the side quests a bit more than the main story, just because of that. They weren't super, like, tedious usually. I mean, there were some that were kind of annoying, you know, fetch quest type things, but a lot of them were actually interesting enough to where it didn't feel like I was just doing busy work. I think one of the things that helped me stay engaged with the side quests was the acting. I mean, you expect the main characters to be engaging and, you know, have a lot of personality and everything, but in this game, even the side characters had their own personalities, and that is because of the acting. So I think they did a really good job with that. And since I'm talking about acting, the main characters were really good as well, especially Aloy and Elizabeth and Beta. They were all they were all played by Ashley Birch, and she's just really good in this game. Especially because Aloy, Elizabeth, and Beta are all completely different people. So the fact that she could create those different personalities is just awesome. And the rest of the main cast was good as well. I mean, Aaron, you could tell that he was a tough guy. Zoe, you could tell that she was very calm and collected. Alva was, you know, very excited to be learning new things. Katalo was, you know, trying to keep himself calm. And then when he gets into battle, that's when he lets everything out. And then Varl, like, you could tell that he is a people person. He's very patient. He's very generous. He wants to get along with everybody. And that is one of the things that helps develop these characters into people that we care about. And it did make Varl's death more impactful than it could have been. That's why I wanted revenge on the Zenith. That's why I'm kind of disappointed that our revenge on the Zenith wasn't as satisfying, because even though we did avenge Varl, it just didn't feel like it was enough. But anyway, yeah, the acting was good. They developed the characters really well. And one of the things I did talk about in this playthrough quite a bit was all of the dialogue that we had to sit through. Now, I don't know if I'm just being too negative here, maybe I am, but it felt like there were too many conversations. Now, I know that's important for character development, and it did help a lot with the character development. I just wish it would have been a little bit more gameplay oriented, I guess, because I just don't like sitting there and watching two people have a conversation for, you know, however long. I mean, after most of the main missions, we would go back to our base, and then I'd have to sit there and talk to everybody for like 30 minutes to an hour, which just seems like a little bit too much for me, but maybe that's just because I'm impatient. But it did help with the character development, and I think it is better to have something like that rather than just getting rid of it completely. But it would have been nicer to have more side quests with our team where we could learn about them through those quests instead of just watching them have conversations. But overall, they did a really good job with the character development, and I actually did grow to care about the main characters in this game, or about a lot of the characters in this game. So overall, the story for this game was okay. It was an unsatisfying ending, but for the most part, the story was kind of interesting, and I enjoyed the side quests, and I really enjoyed the characters in this game. Like, main characters, side characters, they were all good. But anyway, now let's talk about the gameplay. So the best way I can describe the gameplay of Forbidden West is that it's an improved version of Zero Dawn. So if you enjoyed the gameplay of the first game, you're gonna enjoy this gameplay. The biggest improvement I saw was in the melee combat, just because now you can actually do combos, especially if you upgrade the melee skill tree. I think it's called Warrior or something, I don't remember. But if you invest in that skill tree, you'll unlock some cool combos. That was definitely the biggest improvement I saw gameplay wise. They also added flying, as you can see here. We're flying on a Sunwing. Unfortunately, we didn't unlock the Sunwing until the very end of the game, so I didn't get to use it a whole lot. It would have been cool if they introduced it a little bit earlier, but you know, throughout most of the game we had access to a shield wing, which is basically a glider, and that was pretty cool as well. I mean, with the shield wing you can fly, or no, with the Sunwing you can fly pretty much anywhere, so I can understand why they didn't want to introduce it early on, because, you know, then you can like skip a lot of the map. But still, I like the way these credits are rolling, where we're just flying through the world and just really admiring the beauty of this game. I really like the way they did these credits here. And now we're just gonna have like normal credits, but I just wanted to mention that they did add some flying stuff. You know, the shield wing as a glider, and then the Sunwing as an actual like plane basically. So really cool that they added that stuff. It allows us to appreciate the world a lot more, and we can really see how good this game looks. And I think that is an improvement from the first game, graphics wise. I don't know, because I played the first game on the PS5, so I don't know if those graphics were different than the original ones. I think they were, but yeah, this game is just, it looks really good, and when you fly through the world, you can really see that it's a very, very gorgeous game. And I like all the different environments in this game. You know, we have like forested areas, we have deserts, we have water stuff. It all looks really good, and every environment feels unique, but when you're going from one environment to another, you don't really notice it that much. There's a nice transition. It's a seamless transition, and that's kind of cool. I don't know how it works, but it just does. And then seeing familiar cities like San Francisco, my hometown, seeing what it looks like 1,000 years in the future, it's like, that's kind of cool. I mean, not great for the city, but it's cool to see. And then same thing with Vegas, seeing it buried under the sand, like, yeah, it seems like this could happen. So I just really enjoyed that stuff. And speaking of San Francisco, I did a little bit of research on the stuff that I was confused about earlier. So Treasure Island is like in the middle of San Francisco and Oakland, like in the middle of the bay. So the Bay Bridge connects San Francisco to Treasure Island, and then the other part of the Bay Bridge connects Treasure Island to Oakland. I think that's how it works. Not 100% sure, but I think that's right. And I think I was just getting confused with Treasure Island being in the North Bay, because in the North Bay there's something called Angel Island. So I think I got confused with that. But then that tower we went to do one of the quests was Coit Tower. That big tower that looks like a radio tower is called Sutro Tower. So it's cool to see all these landmarks. And then the Palace of Fine Arts being underwater, it's like kind of cool to see. But like I said, I hope that doesn't happen, but it's cool to see that stuff in this game. But other than that, like I said, the environments in this game were really nice. Everything felt alive, like the world felt alive. Wherever you go in the world, you're gonna run into something. It never felt like super empty. And yeah, it was really nice. And the gameplay ran really well. You know, it runs at 60 FPS, feels smooth. The only problem was there were a couple of glitches I ran into in the game. One of them was when we were fighting that big machine in Vegas, where after I defeated it, I ended up falling through the map. And then in San Francisco, there were a couple parts where I would fall through these cracks that I couldn't see, mostly because they were covered by like grass or green stuff, I don't know. moss, whatever. And then it seemed like I was stuck, but usually I could wiggle my way out. But yeah, there were a lot of moments where I would be running and then Aloy would just get stuck on a little rock or something. And that would happen quite a bit. But other than that, the game is just, it looks really good and the game runs really well and I'm very happy with it. But anyway, going back to the improvements from Zero Dawn to Forbidden West, one of the best things this game did is change up the inventory system. So in the old game, if you collected too much stuff, you would eventually not be able to carry any more of whatever. In this game, if you have too much stuff on you and you go to try to pick something up, it'll go straight to your stash. So now you can pick up everything you see. And that's great for somebody like me because when I play games, I tend to be a hoarder, I guess. I try to pick up everything and I usually keep everything for quite a while. I'll try to sell stuff off every now and then, but because I'm so focused on just beating the game, I don't really have the time to manage my inventory that much. So the fact that it goes to my stash, instead of me having to figure out what to get rid of, is just a nice improvement. And this game also added a bunch of accessibility options, and one of the best ones that they added was the ability to have no pickup animation. So when the game first came out, I don't know if that option was there because I was trying to look for it, but I didn't see it. Maybe I just missed it. But I think a couple weeks after I started playing, they patched the game and added that as an option. But when I turned off pickup animations, it was so nice because now I can just run around the world, pick up medicine without having to stop and bend down and pull it out of the ground. It made the game so much better because I could move through the world without losing momentum. I didn't have to waste all this time bending down to pick up every little thing. There's still an animation for like looting stuff, but that makes sense. But, you know, picking up medicine, picking up branches, whatever, I'm so glad there's no animation for that anymore. Or at least I have the ability to turn it off. Like, it is such a nice quality of life improvement, and it makes me so happy. Now, fighting machines does feel a little bit better in this game. I already talked about the melee combat and how it's better because you can actually do combos now, but it is also easier to analyze enemies and their parts, just because when you scan them with the focus, you can use the D-pad to move between the parts. They also have a bunch of weapons to choose from in this game, so you know, you can use your bow and arrow, you can use a tripcaster, you can use blast sling. I think one of the new things they added is a shredder gauntlet. I'm not sure about the spear that explodes, or you know, it's like a javelin type thing. I don't know if that's new, but you have that. There's just a lot of weapons to choose from. There's a lot of weapon coils and armor coils and stuff. Seems like there's a lot of different armor, and there are a lot of skills in this game. So there's a bunch of skill trees that will each focus on a certain gameplay element. So you can focus on melee, you can focus on traps, medicine, overriding machines, stealth. So you can upgrade those trees depending on what type of gameplay you like. And so one of the first ones I focused on was melee because, you know, I like melee combat, and it actually ended up making the game a lot more fun because that's where I learned the combos. Now, each skill tree also has abilities that will upgrade certain weapons, so, or unlock certain abilities for certain weapons. So for example, there's one where you can unlock a special ability for the sharp shot bow where you basically have a charged up arrow that will explode on impact and do a bunch of damage. That's really the only one I used throughout this game. I also use, like, you know, the triple notch arrow where, you know, you shoot 3 arrows at once, you know, stuff like that. But there's even more special abilities. I can't remember what they're called, but, you know, there's things where you can, like, give yourself a shield or use your spear to create an AoE attack. But you can only use them like once in a fight because they take forever to charge up. But there's just a lot of things to go through. And, you know, with all this variety of weapons and abilities and skills, it can be kind of overwhelming. That's one of the reasons why I didn't really experiment too much, is just because it's like, and I don't know what to use. I find something I like and then I just stick with it, because it's like, if I try to experiment too much, this playthrough is gonna be way too long. But anyway, like I said, there's just a bunch of stuff to choose from, and you can even customize. There's a lot more customization options. So you can give Aloy a bunch of different face paints, you can change the color of her armor with armor dyes. I don't know if those things were in the first game, but they're in this game and there's quite a bit to choose from. So there's a lot of customization options in this game in terms of how Aloy looks and what kind of skills you have, what type of gameplay you want. You can really create your own playstyle. You can create your own Aloy, I guess. It feels a lot like an RPG, which is both good and bad, because, you know, your Aloy is going to be very unique, but they also added a bunch of RPG elements that are in other RPGs that I'm not really a big fan of. So they added food, where you can buff yourself before a fight, you know, give yourself more health or more stamina or whatever. It's okay, but it's just another thing to worry about for me. They also added Machine Strike, which is this tabletop board game, just like every other RPG adds. You know, Assassin's Creed had like Orlog or something, and then The Witcher has Gwent. It's one of those things that's like, here, play this game inside of this game. And it's like, okay, but nah, I don't think so. I'm just not a big fan of that type of stuff. But yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that they added to this game to make it feel like an RPG. And the world is huge. There's a lot of stuff to do in this game, and I really didn't do that much. I basically did most of the side quests and the main story quests, and that's pretty much it. There's still a lot I can do in this game. You know, I could go to the hunting grounds, I could go to the melee pits, I could do the machine strike stuff, I could, you know, hunt down machines so that I could upgrade my armor and weapons. That's another thing. The upgrading is kind of tedious because you need specific parts for each upgrade. I mean, it makes sense, but it's just kind of annoying to have to take a long time to hunt down machines and make sure you're removing the certain parts you need, because some of these parts, if you kill the enemy or if you kill the machine, those parts aren't going to be able to be harvested. So you have to make sure you're removing those components before you actually kill the machine. And that's where things get a little bit tedious. But anyway, like I was saying, there's still a lot more to do in this game. I mean, there's a lot more exploration. There's gauntlet runs, which is apparently like racing mounts. Not really into that. I don't know if I will do any of that in the future. I mean, maybe once they announce like a DLC or expansion or a sequel, maybe I'll come back to this game and start doing some of the stuff that I didn't do. But for right now, I do need to take a break from this game because I have been playing this game for a long time. It took me about 60 hours to beat this game, and I started this game pretty much right after I finished Zero Dawn, which also took me like 50 to 60 hours. So I put a lot of time into the Horizon series over the past 4 or 5 months, and I'm kind of feeling a little bit burnt out. Now that I think about it, that could be why I've complained a lot more in this game than I would have liked. I know I've complained a lot about sitting through conversations. I mean, when we would go back to the base, I'd have to spend like 30 minutes to an hour just watching Aloy talk to all her friends. It's the reason why I didn't really do a lot of side activities besides the side quests, because I just didn't want to add more time to this playthrough for something that really isn't necessary. I don't need to do all the melee pits, I don't need to do the hunting grounds, I don't need to do the gauntlet runs, I don't need to upgrade my weapons, even though these are all things that I probably should do at some point. It's not really necessary to finish the game. And if I don't need to do this stuff to finish the game, then I don't really want to include it in this playthrough, because I don't want to make this playthrough go on forever. And maybe that's another reason why I complained too much, is just because I didn't want this playthrough to go on forever. When I played Horizon Zero Dawn, there were a couple times where I would want to upgrade something, or I'd want to get a new weapon, so I had to go and hunt down a couple machines. And I did that on my own time, and it was a lot more fun because I didn't have to worry about how long it was taking. It didn't really matter because it only affected me. So maybe recording this game did reduce my enjoyment of the game just a little bit, but yeah, that's something I need to really work on, I guess, is just realizing that this game is such like it's a big game. It's a long game. It's gonna take a lot of time. And that's actually a good thing, because majority of people are not going to be recording this game or streaming this game. They're going to be playing it on their own for their own entertainment. And if there's a lot of stuff to do in this game, then that's good, because they're going to get their money's worth out of it. You know, this game is what, like $70 maybe on PS5? I'm not sure about that. I think it is. Most PS5 games are $70. But you know, you're gonna spend that amount of money on a game, you want to get a lot of time out of it. And with this game, you will. Even after you finish the main story and the side quests, there's still a bunch of stuff to do and to explore. And luckily, the design of the game, the way the game looks, just the world that you can explore is just so nice to explore that it won't matter how long it takes to do something, because it will be enjoyable just to explore the environments, fight machines, do random side activities. This game has a lot to offer, and it is a very entertaining, engaging game that you can just immerse yourself in, and you will spend a lot of time on this game. So I would highly recommend picking this up, especially if you have a PS5. I don't know anything about the PS4 version, but I'm assuming it's probably just as good. Maybe it doesn't look as good as the PS5 version, but you know, it's probably fine. And I'm glad that we're finally getting some games that are showing the capabilities of the PS5. It feels like there haven't been that many PS5 games that have really wowed me yet. I mean, the only one I can think of is Ratchet & Clank, but this one is pretty good. I mean, just the fact that the game can run smoothly and still show like these huge environments, it's really good. So anyway, that is about it. I really enjoyed this game, even though it seems like I complained a lot. I mean, most of that was just because I was thinking about the time. You know, am I spending too much time on this? Is this gonna take up too much time in the video? You know, that's where I start to experience a little bit of frustration, I guess, and that's something I really need to work on. Because once I don't worry about time constraints at all, I enjoy games so much more. And that is something I'm gonna need to learn how to do when I record a Let's Play or when I stream. Like, don't worry about the time, just focus on the game and enjoy it. And this game was very enjoyable when I wasn't thinking about time constraints. So anyway, that is it for this playthrough. In summary, the story for the game was okay. It was pretty interesting, but the ending was pretty unsatisfying, kind of disappointing. But the character development and the characters, their performances, they were all really good. They all had their own personality, and it just made me a lot more interested in the story. It made me care about the characters a lot more. It made me dislike certain characters more. But it was all pretty good. And then in terms of gameplay, you know, it's very similar to Horizon Zero Dawn, but with certain improvements. You know, the melee combat's better, the inventory management, that's great. There's a bunch of weapons to use, which can be overwhelming, but it just means that you can create your own playstyle. You can play the game the way you want to, especially with all the new skills and abilities they added. And I don't remember if I mentioned it, but the grapple hook was a neat addition. It does make traversal a little bit more interesting, and it's also used in a lot of the puzzles in this game, which weren't too bad. Usually I could figure them out, but some of them were a little bit complicated. But the grapple hook, the shield wing was a cool addition. The flying machine, the sun wing, that was a neat addition. I mean, being able to fly in this game really does make you appreciate the way this game looks a lot more. And the graphics for this game are just, they look great. I played this in the performance mode, so that means it probably at 1080p 60 FPS. That's usually what it means. I don't know what this game looks like at 4K, but I'm assuming it looks great. So this is definitely one of the best looking games I've played, especially on the PS5. So we're finally getting some PS5 games that seem like PS5 games, and that's cool. And again, it took me like 60 hours to get through this game, and I still have a bunch more stuff to do. So I would like to do the stuff I haven't done yet, like the melee pits, the hunting grounds. There's that arena challenge, there's the gauntlet runs. There's just a bunch of stuff to do in this game, and I would like to do that at some point. I don't know if I will record that. Maybe if they announce like a new expansion or DLC, or when they announce the new sequel, maybe I'll come back and record that stuff. But I don't know. It would be nice to at least do that on my own time, but we'll see. For right now though, I do have to take a break from this game just because I've been playing the Horizon series since January basically. Again, it took me like 60 hours to finish this game, 50 or 60 hours to finish the first game, so I've been playing this a lot over the past few months, so I'm ready to move on. But anyway, that is going to be it for this playthrough. I would highly recommend playing this game because you'll just get a lot of time out of it. It is fun, and it's just a really good looking game, and it's one of those games where you can just immerse yourself into the world and the story and all that stuff. Unfortunately, the ending is a little bit unsatisfying, so there's that. But that's really the biggest issue. Everything else is pretty good. And the variety of weapons, skills, abilities, customization options, you can play this game however you like, and it will be fun. So anyway, that is going to be it for this playthrough. Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. What did you think of the story? What did you think of the ending? What do you think of the characters in this game? Do you think the gameplay is an improvement from Zero Dawn? Just anything about the game or this playthrough. And hopefully you all enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I know it was a long journey. If you've watched any of this playthrough, if you've watched any of Horizon Zero Dawn, thank you. I really do appreciate it. And it looks like we're coming up on the end of the credits, so it should be done very soon. And we get our trophy for completing the game. Congratulations on defeating the Far Zenith threat. You are now free to continue exploring and complete any unfinished quests and activities. Thank you for playing, the Horizon team. Well, thank you for making a great game. Anyway, that is it for this playthrough. Again, thank you for watching, and hopefully I will talk to you all later.